Hey kids, how you boys doing?
I've decided to use Pulp Fiction as one of my inspirations for my own film. The film is made up by many different stories that all intertwine in interesting ways. There are two main central characters in Jules and Vincent, however there are many different characters such as Butch, Marcellus Wallace, Mia Wallace, and they're all involved in the story in different stories which makes up the full story. In Pulp Fiction they use a range of camera shots in the film. One of my favourite camera shots is where Jules and Vincent are going into a flat where they are going to claim back something that belongs to their boss from business partners of Marcellus Wallace. This is an over-the-shoulder shot of Vincent and Jules as they knock on a door. The door opens and they proceed to go through the door, where the door shuts on the camera. As well as this, there is some lines of dialogue displayed by Jules. As well as an over-the-shoulder shot, it is also a low-angle shot looking down on the man opening the door, representing that they have a higher status than him. I would like to incorporate this because it gives the film tension and a clear overview on hierarchy in the film. Another sequence of the film is a shot-reverse shot at the end of the film where Jules is holding a gun pointing it at Ringo. I like this scene because it makes you feel like you are in the film and you can understand what it's like to be in the position of these people. As well as the door shutting, there is also dialogue at the end of the sequence. Jules proceeds to say,
Hey kids, how you boys doing?
This depicts to the audience that they are more important as he refers to them as kids, which can also represent superiority. I like this sequence because it says to the audience that they have a higher status. Another sequence I would like to analyse of dialogue is where both Jules and Vincent are sitting down eating dinner. They display lines of dialogue that would be normal for anyone to be talking about, but we know that they're not just normal people. It makes the audience remember that they are not normal people as well. I would like to use this because I think that characters should have a certain normality about them.
By that rationale, if a pig had a better personality, he would cease to be a filthy animal. Is that true?
Well, we have to be talking about one charming motherfucking pig. I mean, he had to be 10 times more charming than that Arnold on Green Acres, you know what I'm saying?
The next section of the film I'd like to analyse is setting. The scene I would like to analyse is where Mia Wallace and Vincent Vega are waiting for their dinner at a diner and display some lines of dialogue. The setting for the film is interesting because there are many people around the place and the place is not somewhere you'd usually think these people would go to. I would like to incorporate this into my own film because it contradicts the characters and gives the film an interesting twist. Next I'm going to be analysing characters in Pulp Fiction. The scene I'm going to be analysing is where Jules and Vincent are at Jimmy's house and Winston Wolfe comes to help them dispose of a body in the back of a car. In the scene, Winston Wolfe is telling the boys what to do, and at the end of the sequence he also displays some lines of dialogue when Vincent answers back. All the characters are wearing suits except for Jimmy, who is wearing a dressing gown. The character's costume depicts status. Jimmy is the lowest, Jules and Vincent are next up because they are wearing suits, and finally Winston Wolfe is the higher status because he's wearing a bow tie. As well as representing status, their costume also depicts abnormality, showing that they are not normal people. Their calmness in this situation also represents that they have seen all this before and that they are used to this level of brutality. They also use dialogue in the sequence. For example,
So pretty please, with sugar on top. Clean the fucking car.
This also depicts a comedic value in the scene, adding to the fact that they are normal people as well as protagonists as well as antagonists. The last aspect of the film I'd like to analyse is the storyline. Pulp Fiction has a very interesting storyline as there are many different storylines that have been sewn together to create a big final film. I think that this could be an interesting aspect to include in my film. One of the main storylines is Jules and Vincent's storyline. There are two hitmen who go out to a house to reclaim something of Marcellus Wallace's. Then someone jumps out with a gun firing at them, however none of the bullets hit them. They proceed to drive in a car where they begin to talk about what just happened. Then at the end of the film, the first storyline and the last sequence come together. I would like to incorporate this kind of disjointedness and level of cross-cutting into my own film because it keeps the audience engaged.
Let's go, nigga, come on.
Ah!